Another episode of the Rational Football League show. My name is Emmett. I'm here with my co-host Brendyn Ford.
Yo, yo, yo.
We're on week 22. It's been a busy week in the NFL with some trades. Looks like some good morning college games on yesterday. We are recording this on Saturday, so by the time it airs, it'll be Sunday. But today for us. A lot of good games. But let's get right into this. Oh, I'm so sorry. You guys can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and TikTok. We post on there several times throughout the week. TikTok, I think we post daily. Go check us out. You can find us in the link tree on any of our profiles. All right, guys, let's get right into this. We're going to start with the Thursday Night Football recap. We had the Chicago Bears taking on the Washington Commanders. The Bears took a dominating win, 40-20. It was their first win in almost a year. So numbers from that game real quick. Justin Fields went 15 of 29 with 282 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. DJ Moore had 8 receptions for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns. Great fantasy game for him.
Great fantasy game.
And then this one kind of surprised me, but maybe the numbers came in garbage time. But Sam Howell went 37 of 51 for 388 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. I don't know if a lot of those yards came in garbage time or not, but if you're just box score watching, those are some decent numbers. But B, you are a regional Bears fan here. Tell us how you're feeling after the win. Was it a fluke? You feeling confident about a turnaround for the season? What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't feel confident for turnaround of the season yet. I mean, they're still 1-4. But I feel good about that win. I mean, you already said it, but it's been almost a full year since the Bears fan could experience a Bears win. So always feels good, man. And to your point about Sam Howell, I think he ended up getting 200, over 250 yards or something like that in the second half. Because I had a prop for his over, and at halftime he had 70 yards or something like that. It might have been more. I might be wrong there, but a lot of it was in the second half. I was very scared towards the stretch there. There were a couple of series where Washington looked like they could have got back into the game, but the Bears were +2 in the turnover margin for this game. And again, Fields threw no picks, which is awesome for him since he sometimes has that interception bug. But yeah, man. I mean, we have Minnesota next week, so see what happens. And I'm going to torture myself by thinking that the Bears could be 2-3 right now if they didn't choke the lead against Denver last week. But hey, man, you got to take them where they come. They won. It's cool.
Yep, they could be 2-4 after the game against Minnesota next week. Minnesota's defense has been abysmal, so we could see another big game from Justin Fields. The DJ Moore and Fields connection seems to be on fire. I think I saw that they had 600 yards and I think 5 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. So
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
great. The connection seems to be really, really heating up. But yeah, and again, it looks like that offense has finally maybe turned the corner. They got 28 points against Denver, put up 40 against Washington. I expect them to have another explosive outing against the Vikings as well.
Hope so.
Hopping on to some more news, we had several big trades, starting with the one sticking on the Bears. Chase Claypool, who was a healthy scratch and inactive for the last 2 weeks for the Bears, was dealt to Miami. Chase Claypool, in a 2025 7th-round pick, was sent to Miami. Miami sent a 2025 6th-round pick back to Chicago. I mean, obviously just a bust of a trade. There's no other way to write that. Yeah, the Bears traded for Chase. For those that don't know, the Bears traded for Chase Claypool from the Steelers. Last year, they sent the 32nd overall pick, which was technically a 2nd-round pick because I think it was – who lost their pick? Miami?
I think it was Miami. Yeah, you're right.
Miami lost their pick. So it's technically a 2nd-round pick was sent to the Steelers for Chase Claypool. He ended up, I think, only getting 1 touchdown, 188 yards in the 10 games he was there. But
and 18 catches or something like that.
Yeah, and sometimes it's addition by subtraction.
Pathetic.
I mean, that Bears offense has looked really, really good since he's been away from the team. So maybe it really is just an addition by subtraction. I couldn't figure out what Miami's purpose for making this trade was. What are your thoughts on that? Because they were got good receivers, fast receivers. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I don't even know either. I mean, besides having a really good is loosely termed here, but they're having a good depth piece, I guess. In case some people could get hurt or something, because I wouldn't think he would be would he even be active for them too? Like, obviously you have Hill, Waddle, and then who's their third receiver? I can't think of them.
Braxton Berrios, I think, is on there.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
he's in like
gosh,
the
what else?
slot usually, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like a red zone threat for them because they don't really have a lot of
yeah,
tall receivers. I don't know how tall Jalen Waddle is off the top of my head, but we already know he's not good at high pointing the ball. So I don't know what the thought is there. Maybe another yak monster for them. I didn't see him getting too much yak, but yards after catch.
yeah. I mean, I guess when you're Mike McDaniel's, you can't have too many. Like you can't have enough weapons, right? I guess just give him a bunch of talent and then let him go to work with his awesome play design and scheme and whatnot.
Yeah,
But we were kind of joking about this earlier in like the week, especially on Monday night with the Bears game. Is like, man, Claypool must be the worst locker room guy ever. Like,
yeah.
and again, we're joking. I'm not sure what the correlation is like with him leaving the Bears offense catching fire. But it's just funny. As soon as he starts becoming inactive, and pretty much the coaching staff saying don't come near like Hallis Hall and our like team, and
Yeah.
then the team starts picking up on offense. It's a weird thing, but
And
I
maybe
mean,
he just
hope he does well.
yeah. And maybe Fields felt an obligation to try to get the ball to Claypool. So maybe that's why he was like turning down some other throws. He was trying to find him open. And he just wasn't getting. Maybe that was part of the issue. Maybe oh my God, what's the coordinator's name?
Luke
Luke Getsy.
Getsy, yeah, maybe
Yeah,
trying to scheme him open too much or something like that. Yeah,
maybe he felt obligated to try to like scheme some things open, and it was just hindering the offense because he just wasn't doing it. But yeah, speaking of trades, J.C. Jackson was sent back to New England. He was again a healthy and active for the Dolphins. I think the last 2 weeks. I know it was a big deal. He got benched last week and wasn't playing at all. But J.C. Jackson in his 2025 seventh round pick is going to New England, and the Chargers are getting a 2025 sixth round pick back. So it could be a potential good ad
very
for.
intriguing trade.
Yeah, now that they've
Yeah,
lost Christian Gonzalez for the season.
it sucks. That dude was balling.
Yeah, he
That's
was.
awful.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's very unfortunate. I guess kind of is what it is. Injuries are part of the game, which really stinks. But hopefully JC can refine that magic he had in New England because he was a ball hawk while he was there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm
yeah,
sure they can get him right. Good old
yeah,
Billy over there can get him right
yeah.
again.
It's kind of weird. New England guys just cannot succeed outside of New England. It seems like. I mean, it seems like a real
Yeah,
thing.
for real.
Jamie Collins couldn't do it. Oh my God, who's the other one? I guess Chandler Jones has done pretty decent for himself outside New England. But yeah, there's been a couple guys that have left New England and just haven't been able to put anything together outside of New England.
Yeah.
Speaking of guys that have bounced around, Randy Gregory, who was supposed to be released by the Denver Broncos earlier in the week, was actually traded at the last minute to San Francisco instead of being released. The Broncos are getting a 2024 sixth round pick. The Niners are getting Randy Gregory and a 2024 seventh round pick. So just a late round swap again. Yeah, I feel pretty good about it for the 49ers D line. I know I've been pounding the table for them to get some edge rushing depth in all offseason, and they wanted to roll Drake Jackson, which I get. You drafted Drake Jackson high, you need to get him those opportunities. But it's good for them to finally get somebody in there with some experience, someone who can be a little more reliable on the opposite of Nick Bosa. And it just, again, they're not paying him anything. So Denver actually picked up pretty much the entirety of the contract, and San Francisco is just paying him the veteran minimum. So it adds to a scary D-line. The scary D-line gets scarier without having to cost the 49ers really anything more. And I think he still got 2 more years on the contract, too, with no guaranteed money left. So,
yeah,
all around.
No, I mean that's an awesome trade for them. I mean, like you said, that defense is already the best in like the league, and then now you add Randy there. So, dude, they're gonna be more like balling, have more pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, and he won't be active this week. He'll be inactive this week, and I think they're probably going to try to get him going for next week. So should be a good pickup for them. Moving along, we do have some unfortunate news. Dick Butkus has passed away on October 15th. I believe he was 80 years old. He played for the Bears from 1965 to 1973. He's a Hall of Famer. His numbers obviously retired for the Bears.
Yeah.
He also played college ball at Illinois, which I did not realize, and his number is retired there. So Illinois through and through, a very, very sad loss for the NFL community. But yeah, I don't know if you want to. Do you have any other thoughts on to give onto that or anything else? Or
Yeah, man, it was sad as hell, man. When I saw like the news, obviously he has ties to the Bears legend, so like there's that piece of it, and then there's a personal connection with him because he's like my grandpa's like all time favorite player. He even named his old dog after Dick Buckus. So like it's a lot of there's like small touches like that. So he and I talked like Thursday, and yeah, it's pretty somber day, man. And then when you add in the fact that he was up and around the team for forever. Like he was just at the Bears Packer game when they kind of walked out other Bears, alumni before the game started, and he was there and he seemed healthy. You know what I mean? So it's no, man, it's just sad, dude. But he is a legend, and legends never die. So rest in peace to him, and thoughts and prayers to his family for sure.
yeah. Moving on to the last little bit of news. This did just happen this morning, so we were barely able to get it on our slate just in time. But Jonathan Taylor and the Indianapolis Colts have agreed to a 3-year, $42 million deal. I believe I saw that $26 million of it was guaranteed. So he gets the new deal he's been wanting. I think it pays about $14 million, give or take, a year. So a good thing for the running backs too. It's still, it's not record breaking, but it's still right around what the high has been, which is good for them. And we should see him play out the rest of the season. That kind of should quell all the concerns and questions that were surrounding that situation in the Colts all offseason in the first few weeks of the season for them. All right, so we're going to move on to the next segment there. I think that pretty much wraps up the news of the week that we had. So we're going to go into our games of the week. We usually pick 3 or 4 games that we are going to try to see if we can't get right. Normally, we're pretty good at this. Last week, we somehow shit the bed.
We
went
sucked.
1 and 2. Yeah, we picked the same games, or same teams. We went 1 and 2. Not the strongest week for us.
It was awful.
So,
it was awful. Like Dolphins, what happened, dude? Come on, man.
I know. I don't want to think about that right now. That was so bad. But we got 4 for this week, so let's go right through them. We're going to go start off with the London game. The Jacksonville Jaguars are taking on the Buffalo Bills. It's in London. The Bills are favored by 5.5 right now, and ESPN is giving the Bills a 79% chance of winning. B, give me your winner of this one here.
I got the Bills here. I'm going Bills. They looked good last week. I know it's a neutral site, but they look like a top 5 team this year. It's going to be a good game though. The Jags look pretty good too. Picked to win the AFC South, so I'm gonna go with the Bills here.
And it's the Jags' second week in London, so they've been there. They've kind of been practicing there. They're familiar with the area right now. That makes you kind of lean a little towards the Jags, but no, I'll go Bills. I'll go Bills. They look like one of the top teams in the NFL right now. They had a rough week 1, but since then they've just been mowing people down. Josh Allen seems to have figured it out. I think he's got a 75% completion percentage right now, which is be the highest of his career. He's looked dominant. That run game has looked solid with James Cook. So I think they're finally finding their groove a little bit. I think the Jags make it interesting because, again, they've been over the pond for the past 2 weeks now. They're familiar with it. Their time change to set, whatever. But, yeah, give me the Bills in that one too. Let's move on to the next game. This would be this isn't a rematch. No, okay. So this is 2 good teams, it seems like. We're having the Philadelphia Eagles. Wow, that was weird. Versus the Los Angeles Rams. I think I had a mini stroke there. Philadelphia.
Been there, done that.
Sorry, it's just a weird twitch I get whenever I say Philadelphia. Anyway, Philadelphia Eagles versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are going to be at home, which really doesn't say much for them because they have no fan base there, as we've seen every week with them and the Chargers.
True.
I mean, that's just a fact. I don't mean to be mean. That is a fact of life, unfortunately, for them.
No, that's true.
Philadelphia is favored by 4, and ESPN is giving the Eagles a 55% chance away. So ESPN is not completely sold on the Eagles taking this game. B, I'll let you go first again. Who you taking, Eagles or Rams?
This was a tough one. When I was filling out my winners of like the week, I was leaning towards the Rams as a potential upset, but I think I'm gonna go Eagles like last second here. Just looking at like the data again. I mean, I think I'm gonna go with the Eagles just until they prove that like they have been sputtering a little bit this season, like not as dominant, but I feel like I gotta give them the benefit of the doubt here. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go Eagles in LA this week.
I am going to go Rams. Again, it's weird for me to have to pick that because, being the 49ers fan, but they get Cooper Kupp back this week. I think the lethal combination of Cooper and Puka Nacua can help limit the damage of any pass rush that Eagles defense is going to get. I think it's going to be a lot of short game with a lot of yak opportunities for those guys. All right, so that covers us for the Eagles Rams. You get taking the Eagles, right?
Yeah, I'm taking Eagles. Yep.
Yep, I'm taking the Rams at home. Okay, perfect. Um, Yep. So let's go moving on to Sunday night football. This is the big one of the week. Again, normally we don't pick our own team's games, but this is too good of a one to pass up. So we're having the Dallas Cowboys are taking on the San Francisco 49ers. It's going to be in San Francisco at Levi Stadium. Battle of the NFC divisional round last year, I believe, rematch. The
Yep.
49ers
Yep.
are favored by 3.5 right now, and ESPN has given the 49ers a 55% chance of winning. So pretty split considering all things. So let me get your take. Who you picking in this one?
Give me easily the Niners.
East?
Not saying easily as in like, oh, the Cowboys are bad. I think the Cowboys are good, but in my opinion, the Niners are the best team right now. I know the Bills are good. They're up there after that really big win over the Dolphins last week, but every single week the Niners has dominated the team that they were playing. I mean, I don't see. I mean, okay, the Cowboy defense is tough. I don't want to jinx that Niners offense, but the Niners offense is just so smooth. It's so operationally smooth, and I just don't see them slowing down. The defense is good, it's solid. Yeah, man, give me Niners.
Yeah, for me personally, I think the biggest concern I'm going to have for the Cowboys perspective is the Cowboys offense. I mean, they haven't looked special this year. They haven't looked amazing. I know Dak's been playing efficient. He hasn't. He's only had one turnover, I think, one pick.
I think
So
so.
much of an improvement for him, which is really good. But what are they averaging on offense? Like just offense line, I think they're averaging like 17 points a game. I
Something
mean,
like that.
nothing. A lot of the defense is actually scoring a lot of their points for them. The 49ers haven't been turnover prone. The Cowboys run a lot of man coverage, which the 49ers have George Kittle, which is hard to stop in man. They have Brandon Ayuk, who's hard to stop in man. They have Christian McCaffrey, who's hard to match up with any kind of defense, but especially in man coverage. So, I mean, again, it's kind of hard. I keep saying it every week. Like I'm trying to be as rational and like objective about this as I can. I just don't see how the 49ers lose any of these games. I mean, their offense is putting up 30 points a game, over 30 points a game now. Their defense is only giving up about 15 to 20 or somewhere in that range. No one's been able to slow them down, at least not this season so far. They're undefeated in games that Purdy finishes. They're undefeated in the regular season since Chris McCaffrey's gone there. He's got 13 straight games of scoring a touchdown. Yeah, I mean, give me the Niners, and I don't know how close it is, but I think we're really going to get an actual true testament to what these teams are at this point in the season. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Niners until the wheels fall off right now because again, I just don't see how anyone matches up with them right now.
Same here. I think the
Moving,
only way they lose is if they like beat their own selves.
yeah, like it's gotta be an implosion of all. Like Purdy has to like absolutely regress, be sloppy with the ball. Micah Parsons has to be really just dismantling McKivitz at right tackle. Um, yeah, that would probably be. They have to like stuff CMC, which no one's been able to do so far. Yeah, I mean,
No
we're
one.
going to have to see something completely foreign to us from the 49ers for them to not win this game. Which again, if you're going, if there's a team that could do it, it's got to be the Cowboys defense because again, they've been one of the best in the league this year so far. So, yeah, that's gonna be such a fun one to watch. That might end up being the game of the regular season. All right, let's get to this last one here. Fun little game here of two rebuilding teams. We have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Houston Texans in Atlanta. The Falcons are only favored by 1.5. And like we've kind of mentioned before, usually the home team gets 3 points automatically. So that tells you Vegas isn't feeling good about them. ESPN's also only giving the Falcons a 52% chance of winning. So ESPN's not feeling real great about the Falcons either. But B, let me get your take here. Who are you thinking? Who are you taking?
I'm gonna ride that Texans wave, man. I like what they're doing on offense, explosive. You have Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, a little bit of Dameon Pierce. You know, the run game is still a little bit iffy, in my own opinion. But you have the Falcons right now who aren't really confident in their offense and really their quarterback. I mean, Bijan's over there; he's doing great things. But Desmond Ridder has been getting a lot of negative press, and it's bad. It's tough because he's so young in his career already too. And then I just feel like everyone's just like compiling in on him. Like I don't think the vibes are good right now. Of course, if they come out and they just win this game, it'll make the team morale just so much better. But I think the Texans, man, I think the Texans are just feeling themselves right now. They are playing with passion, and I think they're come out there and start just firing again, just like last week when they pretty much just beat the ass out of the Steelers. Like they just completely came out in this showed out. So yeah,
I don't think I've heard that one. They beat the ass out of. He went into a fight with an ass and left without an ass. Like that's how bad you got whipped. Like you don't have an ass.
Spank that shit off.
They knocked off both your cheeks. Yeah, no, I like your pick. No, I'm scared that we're picking a lot of the same teams again, but yeah, give me the Texans. Atlanta didn't look good last week in London. They're not going to have jet lag coming back. Again, Vegas doesn't feel good about him. Stroud's been on a tear. He's averaging 300 yards a game or something like that.
Yeah.
He just watched his boy in Fields ball out, so he's going to know he's got to ball out. I really like the Texans head coach and DeMeco Ryans, former 49ers defensive coordinator. That dude's one smart dude. So if there's anyone that's going to be able to figure out this Atlanta offense, it's him. He also played with Kyle Shanahan, and they run a very similar system, Atlanta and the 49ers do. So he's familiar with it. And yeah, like I said, CJ Stroud's just been on a tear with Nico Ryans and Tank Dell. Dalton Schultz has been okay. Like I said, Dameon Pierce hasn't been lighting the world on fire, but he's been doing what he needs to do. They got Jimmy Ward there at safety, who's been having a solid season, untalked about solid season. So yeah, give me the Texans.
He's been talking too.
Oh yeah, he loves to talk. He backs it up. That's the only reason I'm looking.
He's already getting inside of like Ritter's head.
Oh yeah, he loves that. Like I said, as long as he backs it up, he can keep talking. So that's the big thing about it.
I love it, man. Come on.
Yeah, I know. He didn't say anything necessarily wrong either. Desmond Ridder has not looked. He hasn't looked the part yet. I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot of flashes yet. Kyle Pitts, and this was weird that went around, and I think it was yesterday, people posting a video of Kyle Pitts running routes and stuff like that. And like he's slipping out of his breaks and he just hasn't looked explosive. And it's like, okay, well, maybe that was just the field. Like all the highlights were from the one game, but
right.
Who knows? Maybe there was something there and I just don't realize it. But it looked like he was just slipping out of his breaks. So, All right. So we're going combined. We're taking the Bills. We're taking the Niners. We're taking the Texans. You've got the Eagles. I've got the Rams. That's scary. Last week we did that. It didn't work out well for us. So that's
right.
Scary.
Hey, you're usually one that picks like the right teams. I'm ass at this.
No, but so. I mean, maybe I think the thing is that we're getting to the point in the season where we kind of get to know who the teams are. So when we're seeing these matchups, it becomes a little easier for us to pick. So I think maybe we're just getting to that point in the season. We're like, okay, we know this team's ass. We know this team's good. We know they're about even, but this team probably has this advantage. So, all right. And again, we're going to move on to our final segment. If you've been with us here for our morning portion of the news and the games and the picks because you like making bets and winning money, because that's what we do around here usually, except last week we win money.
Sometimes.
Thank you for joining us. Go watch those games. Go have a fun time. If you're continuing on with us into our segments that we do 2 segments every week. They aren't team specific, week specific, or anything like that. They're usually just general topics that we want to explore a little more, give our thoughts about, opinions about, and they derive from a lot of different places. Before we go any further on that, if you've noticed I've changed colors, no, you haven't. Alrighty. Just want to address the elephant in the room there. It's not a white elephant. It's a gray elephant. It's a regular elephant. You don't leave that elephant alone. It didn't happen.
Tell them to mind their own business.
You know, something I'm blue. What is it? I'm blue, double D, double die. I'm green because green's money and we win money around here. That's what we do.
Hell yeah. Boom.
All right, let's get into our segments here. The first one here is going to be, we're going to do a little bit of a college football review right now. Halfway through the season, B. We are halfway through the season. And I want to ask our viewing audience this first. If you clicked onto this video, thank you for watching with us. Why don't you head down to the comment section right now? Why don't you tell us who you think your Heisman favorite is right now? Who do you think deserves to take home the trophy for being the best player in college football? Why down there, leave a like, give a subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications. We're going to give our picks right now. B, I'm going to have you go first. Who is your Heisman favorite halfway through the college season?
Man, this is tough. Because the underlying tones of the Heisman usually is the quarterback for one like the best teams. Sometimes it's not a quarterback, but most times it is, and usually it's from a team that's like very, very good, right? So I'm trying to think of like, obviously we all know the clear front runners in terms of like stats, right? Then I'm trying to predict, okay, what team do I think has a chance of like making the playoffs, or at least like winning their like conference, right? Because again, it has to be a very good team. I'm looking at the odds here on FanDuel to kind of help me with my decision here. I'm gonna go with it's not really a sleeper, but I think you know where I'm going with this. I'm going with Michael Penix Jr. His stats right now is off the wall, and I'm putting my early prediction that they can get past USC this season and win that Pac-12 conference. And if they do, they have a good chance of making the playoffs. So I'm going to go as right now. It's easy to say Caleb, but I'm going with Michael Penix Jr. Give me that sleeper pick.
So yeah, I picked Michael Penix Jr., but let's make it a little more interesting. And you know
like,
what was
fucking Brendyn? You fucking fucked up my like decision.
No, but we can still get into that in a minute. But yeah, I'll just follow up on yours. Yeah, he's statistically leader in a lot of categories. He's got 2,000 yards through 5 games. He's averaging about 400 yards a game, playing almost 75% of his passes. He's got 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The Huskies are 5-0, and they're ranked 7th in the country. They average 46 points a freaking game. They average 450 passing yards per game. The biggest disadvantages and things in his path right now are obviously Caleb Williams has more touchdowns, a better rating, and more like splash plays. Like he makes more highlight material. And the biggest issue is, I'm sure a lot of fans are probably screaming right now at the screen. Who have they played? They haven't played anyone. They played Michigan State as maybe their best win so far this season, and that was right after their head coach got fired. So, if you're looking at it like that, it's like, okay, well, yeah, he's doing these great things, but like, who is it really against? Boise? You kind of start to see and have to like call it into question. I was going to try to quickly change up my pick because you were saying, oh, well, the best team in the country, the quarterback of that team usually wins it. And I was thinking, Quinn Ewers. There we go. Subtle plug. Dude turns his life around going to the season, cuts the mullet off, looking good. Let me check the score before I put my foot in my goddamn mouth. And it's a good thing I did because Oklahoma just upset Texas in the Red River Showdown. 34-30. Oklahoma
I'm so
won.
Pissed.
Yeah,
I'm so pissed.
That takes my Ewers pick out.
I had that Texas money line. They fucked it up.
Yeah, so that takes Ewers out of the conversation for me. I was thinking maybe Shedeur Sanders might be in the conversation, but with 2 losses against Oregon and USC, and potentially a couple more coming up this season, it's hard to pick him. Caleb Williams, I mean, that feels like the easy layup, but you know what? I am going to stick with my pick of Michael Penix Jr. We've those are the arguments against all of them. Michael Penix Jr. has to be the clear favorite right now. The rest of the season gets tougher from here on out. They still have, I believe, Oregon on their schedule. They still have USC on their schedule. I believe they still play Washington State, who's been, outstanding. Washington State has not been getting the recognition I think they deserve. Cam Ward's done a job up there.
Cam
They're
Ward,
13th
he is
ranked right
good.
now.
He
Yeah.
is good.
Oh, he's the transfer from Incarnate World, right? He played in the FCS last year.
Yeah, I think you're
Knocked
right.
out Sac State.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he transferred to Washington State this year. He's been outstanding, dude. And who knows? Maybe he might just end up winning the Heisman, depending if Washington State can keep on their current track. They're playing UCLA right now, but they're ranked 13th. He's got them dudes ranked 13th. Washington State's not getting the respect they deserve. But yeah, Washington's got a tough second half of the schedule. We'll see if these numbers hold up for Michael Penix Jr. But I think it's hard not to put him as the clear Heisman favorite. But it feels like definitely a weaker class this year. There hasn't been any clear stained out above the rest kind of guys. Even Caleb Williams hasn't been that ahead of the pack in anything.
Well, I think it's because too, like the three front runners right now, at least on FanDuel odds, is Caleb, Michael Penix Jr., and then Bo Nix, and they're all in the same conference. The Pac-12 right now is just loaded. And we're going to find out a lot about Michael Penix Jr. and our Washington team here pretty soon, because next week they play at home against Oregon.
Yeah, and who's Oregon played so far? I know they beat Colorado. What do you do?
Yeah, Colorado. Give me one second here. Who else have they played?
I think they might be on a bye this week. I can't find their schedule pretty quick here. So
1 second, y'all. They have a gauntlet too. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah,
so
pretty much all the Pac-12 is back. Their schedules are the back half of these. All the games are the back half of the schedules.
They put like an 80 burger on Portland State for the first game, and then they play Texas Tech, Hawaii, Colorado, Stanford. But then they have a tough 3-week span here against Washington State, and then Utah. They have a down week against Cal, and then they play USC. So they have a little gauntlet coming up here.
I feel like it's safe to say in the next 3 or 4 weeks here, the Heisman's going to be won by either Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, or Michael Penix Jr. Or again, surprise sleeper pick potentially Cam Ward. Again, if Washington wins out the rest of the season, they beat Oregon, they beat Washington, they beat USC. I'm sorry, I'm shipping that thing to Cam Ward. That if they pull that off, but. Yeah, for me right now at this point, it has been Michael Penix Jr. No one's played anyone. It's been a cupcake first half of the schedule for the Pac-12. But it'll definitely, I think, in the next three weeks here, definitely easily be decided. But again, it's that's what it is. What it is. You play the people on your schedule. But you tell us what you think. Is Michael Penix the leader right now? Did we get this right, or do you think it's somebody else that we haven't mentioned? In fact, I want you to do one better. Tell me what you think the realistic chances of Cam Ward it has of winning the Heisman. Tell us in the comment section. If this is where we're losing you. Thanks for joining us. Hit the like button, subscribe. We do this all the time. We're on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram.
We're everywhere. You guys can find us everywhere. Like and sub, please.
Everywhere you look, you can find us. Until next time, guys, it's been great. We are going to move on to our last segment. So if you've been through it with us through the whole thing, we really appreciate you. We know our voices can be annoying after a while. We get tired of them. So that's why this can is full of Jack and Coke and not just Coke. It's clearly gone already. But we'll move on to our last topic, a fun topic in the NFL. Another MVP award. But should Christian McCaffrey be the favorite for the MVP award in the NFL? We obviously know it hasn't happened for a running back or anyone that's not a quarterback, and I believe it's been 10 years, 11 years. But you guys, again, head down to the comment section. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you think CMC's realistic chances are. Can he win it? Should he win it? Or is he going to go to a quarterback next year? You guys let us know who you think is going to take it home. But let's just get right down into it. I'm going to take the lead on this one, if that's okay with you, B. I pulled up a couple numbers here.
The stage is all yours, man.
So the last two running backs to win this award were Adrian Peterson and LaDainian Tomlinson. I believe it was in 2012 for AP, and it was in 26 for LT. Now, the biggest similarities all three of these guys have right now is that they're all their names are abbreviated. You have LT, AP, CMC. None of them go by full names. That guarantees a MVP, right? No, I'm just kidding.
It's already written in like the
It's already
stars,
written.
It's
He goes
already
by an
written.
acronym. No, but AP had about 2,100 rushing yards in 2012. He had 12 touchdowns, and he averaged 131 yards a game. He also willed the Vikings to the playoffs that year with Christian Ponder as his quarterback. In 2006, LaDainian Tomlinson ran for just over 1,800 yards. He had 500 receiving, 31 total touchdowns for the San Diego Chargers. He got 28 rushing. That's when he set the record for most rushing touchdowns in the season. And he was averaging about 113 yards a game. CMC, these are projections, obviously, because we don't have the full season here. So projecting it out based on what his averages have been, he could finish the year with over 1,900 yards, 1,951 rushing yards, 600 receiving yards, which would put him at 2,500 total yards on the season, 25 rushing touchdowns, and he's averaging 114 yards per game. He also has not lost a regular season game since coming to the 49ers. He scored a touchdown in 13 straight games. He only needs 3 more for the NFL record for most consecutive games with a touchdown. So we'll take a break on there. I've talked a lot. B, tell me what you think about those numbers, the similarities. Do you think he has a chance based on those?
He's just so damn good, man. It's wild. I love watching him play. I love betting on him because I don't think he lost me money yet. And this even going back to like last season. He hits every single bet for me. It's awesome. I want him to win it. I want him to win it. Here in week 5, it's definitely too early. And I'm looking at Vegas odds here. He has the 9th best odds to win the MVP. The 8 people in front of him are all quarterbacks. Like, they clearly are just like quarterback, it's quarterback award. It's like, dude, like, his numbers are crazy. He's 9th best odds. Just to give you some perspective. And no, I mean, they're all good quarterbacks, right? You have Allen, you have Tua, Mahomes, Hurts, Jackson, Herbert, Purdy, Lawrence, and then CMC. And I just don't get it, Emmett. I don't. When you watch him play, he looks like the best player out there. Like, how come you have these quarterbacks and like they're like I said, they're good quarterbacks, but some of these guys aren't having good individual seasons. Mahomes is not putting up the same stats as he normally does. Hurts is not. Jackson is not. So I'm just like, dude, like how are they ahead of CMC? They're not even the best at their position right now.
Yeah. Well, let me give Lamar Jackson's been quietly efficient in his position. I think he's got up to 72% completion rate. You know, I saw a couple of numbers this morning for him. He's been quietly efficient and good. But I don't think anything that like clears separates ahead of him from the pack. I took the top 2 quarterbacks from the betting odds. And again, I mean, none of the quarterbacks are really separating themselves out. Like it doesn't, there's no clear, this is the best quarterback this year. Josh Allen currently has his career high 75% completion percentage. He's projected, again, these are projections. We have to work on these because I don't have the full season numbers, obviously, because it hasn't happened yet. But he's projecting right now to hit 4,400 passing yards, 38 touchdowns. He currently has 106 passer rating, and he's leading a team that's 3-1. Those are solid. Those are decent, good numbers. 4,400 yards is good. 38 touchdowns is good. It's not an MVP good. Tua has a 71% completion percentage. His projection is actually insane. He's projected to hit 5,550 yards. He is also being bolstered by that great game against, Denver. Those numbers are probably going to come down a little bit to more of a reasonable number. He's got 38 touchdowns, or projected to have 38 touchdowns. He's got 114 passer rating. He's currently leading the 3-1 Dolphins, who just lost to the Bills. So, I mean, when you start really deep diving into the numbers a little bit here, there's no quarterback that's like on record pace. There's no, holy crap, this is the guy, quarterback in the number 1 offense in the NFL. It has to go to him. It just doesn't seem to be there. In fact, you could probably argue the 49ers have the best offense in the NFL right now because they're averaging over 30 points a game. The Dolphins have their one game of 70 points and then looked flat against the Bills. And this all can be tossed out the window if they look flat against the Cowboys, but currently they have to have a top 5 offense. And it's led by Purdy. Yeah. Purdy's done a great job. but it's led really by CMC. And I don't see his numbers slowing down because Kyle Shanahan can't even take him out of the game. I remember I think it was week 3, where the game was clearly, I think it was against the Giants, where the game was clearly in hand and CMC was still out there. And the reporter asked him after the game and went, "Hey Kyle, like why are you giving Christian this extra extra hits, extra was it runway? What's I'm thinking of? Extra baggage, whatever it was. Giving this extra load here." And Kyle Shanahan goes, "Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know who's doing that. Like we need to get him out more. He needs more of a break. I don't know who's doing that." It's like you're the one who's doing that.
Did he really say that?
Yeah, he's like, we don't know we got to get him out more often. Like, yeah, you do. What are you saying we for? But you run the offense. You know that, right? You're in charge of this ship. Like, you're the guys.
Oh, man.
It was like, dude, like, he can't even himself take CMC out because he has so much fun using him. Before previous seasons, it used to rotate the backs enough that you knew, Elijah Mitchell, or you knew, oh my God, I can't remember the guy, number 34. It was Jeff Wilson Jr. before, or it was. Oh my God! That's how bad it is. I can't remember. I can't even remember his name.
I can picture him. Yeah. The other dude.
There's no backup running backs in San Francisco anymore. It's all CMC. So
he's so good.
The numbers are going to continue to be there because he wants to continue to feed Christian. So I think that just works to his advantage as well. But again, it just seems to me like his award to lose right now. I know it's quarterback.
Can I just say?
Yeah,
I have to say again how weird it is that Christian McCaffrey is the best at his position right now, and he has the 9th best odds to win MVP. Like that doesn't even make any sense to me. Like I'm trying to think, like doesn't even make logical sense to me, dude. Like at least have him like top 5 or something. I mean, you can clearly see the bias towards quarterbacks for the MVP award. You can clearly see it. It's just I don't know. I have no real, conclusion to my thought other than it's just wild to me.
I know. Well, here's another. Well, again, to the people watching that maybe aren't 49ers fans, you just tuned into this because you're interested to see the conversation. I'll give you another name that's probably not getting the respect they deserve right now. Justin Jefferson. What was he on pace for? Like 2,500 receiving yards?
Oh, what the? Yeah.
He's not even on the odds at all. I mean, we want to talk about getting disrespected.
Dude.
Justin Jefferson's not even on there at all.
He's at plus 10,000.
And what is he at?
They give you
his receiving yards real quick.
What's up?
You pull up his receiving yards real quick?
Yeah. And they give you a reference for the odds. CMC is at plus 2,500. Justin Jefferson's at plus 10,000. He's the best